starts now with breaking news.
CBS 6 News at 5. Staying on top of breaking news, a student recovering from serious injuries and another student is in police custody after a knife attack that forced a lockdown here at Manchester High School. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Rob Cardwell in for Lorenzo Hall.
And I'm Julie Bragg. We just learned both students are 17 years old. The suspect has been charged with aggravated malicious wounding. We have complete coverage of the school scare. Our Shelby Brown walks us through how police and school leaders handled notifying parents about the attack.
But first, Laura French tells us how the attack started in the first place. Laura.
Well, Bill, this day started with panic. It ended in prayer. And now students who were locked down in that school all day long must return tomorrow with the realization that one of their own is in custody and another hospitalized. Locked hand in hand, Manchester High School students bow their heads in prayer for one of their own, stabbed multiple times just hours into the school day Monday.
His class was right beside mine, so I saw a bunch of blood.
He was bleeding from the head and the arm and everything like that.
Just after 9:30, police cars lined this Chesterfield High School after reports of a fight inside the band room.
There was an isolated incident. It was between two students who knew each other, and it was an altercation. It did involve a knife.
Students said the suspect was on a mission to find the victim.
Door to door trying to find this kid.
That student was taken into custody. The victim rushed to the VCU Medical Center with serious injuries, while the school went into lockdown.
People were crying, shaking, scared, talking, trying to figure out what was going on, calling parents.
Parents like Hope Gillespie gathered down the street at a nearby church waiting on word from the school and their children. Hope's daughter was in the chorus room and called her mom crying after she witnessed the attack on her friend.
That there's blood everywhere. All the kids are saying is that there was blood. We've got to put our feelings aside and that our children's feelings are coming first right now.
Now, school officials say that this has been difficult not only for the students, but also for the faculty and staff. So they are making extra counselors available tomorrow, and they're leaving it at the discretion of parents as to what to do if students are going to have a difficult time returning back to class.
Laura, thank you so much. And officers and school leaders, of course, had to walk a fine line today of alerting parents about the attack while making sure students were safe. Our Shelby Brown spoke with our law enforcement expert about balancing that act of telling parents what's going on without putting students' safety at risk. Shelby?
So, Julie, of course, this is a delicate balance. As you can imagine, when parents heard that information on that automated phone call that came in from the principal, when they heard about the school being in lockdown mode, of course, they all made a beeline over to the school. But, you know, the lockdown protocol calls for parents not to stop by and not to call during these situations. Now, one law enforcement expert explains that as difficult as this may be, that is one of the most important things that should happen in situations like these. This was no ordinary lockdown drill. It didn't take long for students like senior Austin Jarrell to figure out there was a real emergency inside of Manchester High School Monday morning.
It was way longer, and that's how everyone knew that it was real, because this lockdown was way longer than any other lockdown has ever been.
Chesterfield school leaders say a student with a knife attacked another student. They tell us a lockdown was immediate. As word spread to parents, panic set in and parents headed to the school. They were directed to this nearby staging area to get information. Law enforcement expert Steve Neal says in tense situations like these, parents flocking to a school can make it more difficult for investigators and school leaders to do their jobs.
Logistically speaking, you've got several hundred students in a school. If you have several hundred parents try to converge on that one place at the same time, then of course that's going to create chaos. So it's going to actually be better in most cases if the parents let law enforcement and the school system be responsible for the safety of that child.
Neal, a retired police commander, says one of the most critical steps in an investigation like this, no matter where the crime scene is to keep the area preserved so investigators can do their best to piece it all together.
Their police first and foremost concerns, of course, are for the safety of the people who might be in the area, but after that it's about the integrity of the crime scene and the collection of evidence. So the job will proceed regardless of where the physical location of the incident happened to be.
Coming up a little later at 6, the other big challenge law enforcement officers face in situations like these. For now, reporting live in Chesterfield, Shelby Brown, CBS 6 News.
Thanks, Shelby. And we have continuing coverage of the Manchester High knife attack at 5:30. The likelihood the student charged in this crime could be tried as an adult And at 6, the tragic anniversary many students there were remembering today while learning about this attack. And you can follow all the updates on this incident on our website, WTVR.com.
This Highland Springs High School teacher is on unpaid administrative leave tonight, accused of carrying on an inappropriate relationship with a male student. CBS 6 senior reporter Wayne Koval tells us how the alleged crime was uncovered.
We're here to learn. We're not here to have a relationship with any teachers.
Students here at Highland Springs High School surprised to hear one of their teachers arrested for indecent liberties with a student.
I would expect her to have more sense and not risk her career for something like that.
School officials say the parent of the victim contacted them Thursday evening.
It was Friday that more interviews took place to try and understand what the facts were.
Henrico County Police also called in to investigate.
What we discovered is that there was an allegation of an inappropriate relationship involving a teacher at the school and an underage student.
The teacher, 31-year-old Tessa Monique Hairston, has been with Henrico Schools since 2004.
Oh, I was real surprised. I would never think she would do anything like that.
Henrico County Police arrest Hairston on Friday.
The teacher is on unpaid administrative leave pending the outcome of the court case.
Parents learned of the alleged incident in an email from the school Monday morning.
Yeah, you try to tell them certain things, but it's hard to tell them about a teacher, when the teacher's dealing with students. So it's kind of hard to teach them about that, but now you have to tell them about everybody.
Henrico County Police say everyone involved in the investigation has cooperated and that shortly after Hairston's arrest, she was out on bond. She's due back in court Tuesday morning. Wayne Koval, CBS 6 News.
Now, Hairston is the second teacher arrested for a sex offense that we've told you about in as many weeks. Late last month, police arrested Stafford County teacher Erica Mesa, who you see here, who's accused of having sex with a 16-year-old student and sending him nude pictures of herself. Now, other media outlets report the 27-year-old has been charged for allegedly having sex with 4 other students and former students. Mesa is currently on administrative leave pending the outcome of an investigation. If there's something you want CBS 6 to investigate for you, email us at newstips@WTVR.com. You can also call our newsroom or find us on Facebook and Twitter. Julie?
Right now, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention is reevaluating rules for using certain protective gear after a, quote, breach of protocol was blamed for a nurse in Dallas catching Ebola. The CDC is also limiting the number of healthcare workers who have contact with Ebola patients. Over the weekend, the health organization announced a Dallas nurse who treated Thomas Duncan now has the disease. The nurse is in clinically stable condition. Now, Duncan, the man she got Ebola from, was the first person to be diagnosed with the deadly virus here on American soil.
If this one individual was infected and we don't know how within the isolation unit, then it is possible that other individuals could have been infected as well.
Now, health leaders say the nurse was wearing protective gear while caring for Thomas Duncan, but may have been exposed while removing the gear. Hazmat teams have decontaminated areas around her apartment, and a reverse 911 call went out to homes in her neighborhood. The nurse and one person she had contact with are now in isolation. A spokesperson says no other workers who treated Duncan have been showing any symptoms. Today marks 1 month since UVA student Hannah Graham disappeared. Surveillance video cameras near the downtown mall captured the last images of the 18-year-old sophomore. Crews in Charlottesville and Albemarle have been searching tirelessly for Hannah, but not today. Joe St. George is in our newsroom to explain why. Joe?
Good evening, Julie. Charlottesville Police Chief Tim Longo says crews are backing off the search today and tomorrow to retrace their steps and plan where they need to search next. Crews from all over the state, as we've reported for weeks now, have searched on horseback, on foot, on ATVs and helicopters for any sign of Hannah Graham, and that included drones. Hannah Graham, of course, was last seen on September 13th. Graham's parents released this statement today, which says in part, "We truly appreciate the enormous effort that is being made to find Hannah. It is heartbreaking for us that the person or persons who know where Hannah is have not come forward with that information. It is within their power both to end this nightmare for all and to relieve the searchers of their arduous task." Graham's accuser, Jesse Matthew, accused abductor Jesse Matthew, is behind bars of the Charlottesville Albemarle Regional Jail awaiting a court hearing that will take place in December. He was arrested, you may recall, in Galveston County, Texas last month and charged with abduction with the intent to defile. He's also been forensically linked to the 2009 disappearance of Morgan Harrington, whose body was later found on an Albemarle County farm. In the newsroom for now, I'm Joe St. George for CBS 6 News. Rob, over to you.
All right, thanks, Joe. Well, we have some good news to pass along in this CBS 6 update. This